What is going on, everybody? C2 Wrestling back again. The boys are back again. It is no longer C1 Wrestling. If you have not checked it out, go check out our recent podcast, CTD's Return. This is your first Friday Night SmackDown in a long while. Why don't you start us off?
I'll start us off by saying next week's Friday Night SmackDown, I will not be here.
Mm-hmm.
But the next day, I will be here with you live for Night of Champions, our live reactions. So come hang out with us. And boy, did that pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it, this SmackDown was long. It
Yeah,
felt long.
yeah.
But we got to start with what ended it. The
That,
John Cena pipe bomb.
yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's going to age better as well. It was great. That's the best John Cena. We texted it to each other. For those of you that don't know, we share a brain. I get it on the weekends, you get it on weekdays, and we rotate. We have the same brain. We sent the text at the same time, a minute into that promo. This is the best thing they've done with John Cena since the heel turn. That was far and away not only the best John Cena thing they've done, that was the best promo of the year, probably in a long time. And that's right off the back of the R-Truth promo on Monday Night Raw. That was also top notch. A couple shout outs there too, some name drops from Cena, a lot of great callbacks to the pipe bomb. Is CM Punk alive? That might
I
have
think
been
he was
the
asleep. I think, yeah, he does it all the time.
yeah. He finally got to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the deadliest AA through a table of all time. But I love the angle of the promo. The callbacks again. John Cena, you give him the mic, you let him go. He's one of the best talkers the company's ever had. And people acknowledge that for sure. But when people talk the best talkers, they throw out names like Stone Cold and whatnot. John Cena's in that conversation, and this is proof of it.
Oh, of course. He's the GOAT besides
Yeah,
Gunther.
of
I'm
course.
mad at myself because I was going to actually text you before the pipe bomb started. When Cena grabbed the table, it clicked in my head. The pipe bomb happens from R-Truth tackling Cena through the table. And I was going to text you, oh, these are the three guys from the pipe bomb. Because Truth,
Crazy.
as soon as I saw the table, and I didn't text it. And then, of course, well, yeah, these are the three guys from the pipe bomb. Here we go. Uh, by far, the Cody Cena build had like great promos,
Mm-hmm.
but they were so it was so tough because they were trying to build on the Cena heel turn and do the build of the match at the same time that it's tough to go back and watch those, especially with the fucking match being stinky,
Yeah.
that it really waters down those
Oh, from
promos.
air. Yeah.
Yeah. This, I feel, as you said, will age better compared to those. Not that those promos were bad, but this feels like it's a promo that's got way more shelf life that
Mm-hmm.
in a few years from now we would talk about, man, remember when Cena flipped the pipe bomb on Punk and hit him with all of the lines and gave possibly the promo of the year?
Yeah, I mean, that really was promo of the year. It's going to be hard to beat from here on out. Again, the callbacks are great, top to bottom. It is great that it also just coincidentally involves R-Truth. Again, in a way, it's another callback. The original John Cena Cody Rhodes feud, the promos, they were lacking like the substance we were looking for in that rivalry, in not only the rivalry, but the John Cena heel turn. There was no mention of the guy on your t-shirt, The Rock, in those promos and whatnot, you know? So don't get me wrong, I'm still very disappointed that there's been a lot of lack of The Rock and this Team Hollywood thing, Cena turned heel with The Rock. That hasn't come to fruition yet, but I guess we've hit a point where we're kind of past that, and I don't expect it anymore. So now it's just heel John Cena. And again, we're on record here at C2 Wrestling, like most fans, that the heel turn hasn't been hitting. But that hit, that was stellar. That was as good as it can get, really. Now, it would have been better if it was leading into their match at SummerSlam and not in Saudi Arabia. That's where I get a little nitpicky. I don't even want to call it nitpicky. It should not be a fucking
It's not a
Night of
nitpick.
Champions. It
It's
should
not a
not be
nitpick.
a Night of Champions.
It's not a
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
nitpick. It's the truth because
It's the truth.
yeah, you already know. I texted you. I'm like, Cody's winning this fucking match,
Yeah, and then he's getting Randy as
and
well,
he's
and they're
facing
wasting
Randy,
Cody
and
Randy.
they're
We talked
wasting
about this
Cody
off
Randy.
air, even maybe we threw it in our podcast a little bit,
Yeah,
but we talked about that a lot. They're wasting a lot of matches in Saudi. They wasted Cody Gunther in Saudi when that had potential to be a WrestleMania main event. It still does. Don't get me wrong. They can run these things back, but like a lot of these first timer matches, you don't want to do a lot of these, 15-year feuds, Cena and Punk. You don't want to do like that. It is a big shame it's happening in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. It's also like, again, that promo, we're going to look back on that promo. That's a very memorable promo to be like, man, that's Cena pipe bomb on Punk. Man, remember when he faced him in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions right after that? It's not the same as going, remember when Punk won the title at Money in the Bank, this, that. It dampens it a little bit, but still, I'm not going to undersell that. That was fantastic. That had me popped up smiling watching that.
yeah. I don't want to completely divert it, but one thing we'll talk about in a minute. I hate that Jacob Solo's being wasted in Saudi. Granted, I know it's a PLE, but to me, that's a SummerSlam match. That's
So
SummerSlam.
I 100% agree. I think that one's, I guess, a bit more reasonable because it's going to end in
Yeah.
Fatu getting attacked by JC or something, and then they run it back at SummerSlam, maybe even in like a cage or something. I don't know. Maybe that's the match that gets a stipulation at SummerSlam, but it is a shame. I mean, the whole Night of Champions card, don't get me wrong, we still get to watch wrestling. If the show wasn't in, our backyards, we probably weren't going to be able to get there anyway. So we would have been watching on TV. But it is a different environment when it's in Saudi Arabia. It's a different crowd. It's a different feel, different time frame. 9 out of 10 Saudi Arabia events are exhibitions. Over the last years or so, they've tried to spice them up a little bit and make them mean more. But that's also kind of my fear is that I don't think this is going to happen. But could you imagine if they did fucking put the title on Punk at Night of Champions? Like, what a waste that would be. Again, incredibly unlikely. But it's not 0% chance, right?
Yeah, it's not impossible. I mean, shit, if they pay enough money, the fucking WWE,
Yeah.
whatever amount of money Saudi wants that to happen, fucking WWE would make it happen. If they
Mm-hmm.
threw the correct number at them, they'd put the title on Goldberg. The fucking things they do for Saudi Arabia. It's the truth. I mean, the TKO does it with UFC.
Yep.
They do it. I know this isn't a UFC fucking show, but UFC had a whole card for Saudi Arabia, and Saudi
Mm-hmm.
was like, "This card is not good enough," and so they postponed it, and
Yeah.
then
Money talks.
gave them a better card,
As Shane
and
McMahon would say, if you ain't talking money, then you're talking don't
yeah, and
matter.
it's happening again where they just announced their next Saudi fight night that's on
Mm-hmm.
ABC, and it's a better card than the fucking pay-per-views that they have.
Yeah,
And then
Sheamus
we
is
look
on it.
at what?
Sheamus is on it.
Oh, fight night, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
then you look at WWE, it's like, look, I think we both have kind of felt that it's probably going to be Cena Cody again at SummerSlam, which
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, after their fucking reaction tonight, I postpone it even farther. You may honestly end up turning Cody heel in the end of all this anyway. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's just I would have much rather Punk Cena this build being for SummerSlam, the main event of night two, the first
Yeah.
ever 2 night SummerSlam. Like I completely agree with you.
I don't want to go too much into what we talked about on the podcast because there's a podcast you can go check out. But we did talk about the potential of people to beat Cena for the championship, and there's not a guy in that Jey Uso spot of 2024 that's being built up. If it's let's just hypothetically say Cody Rhodes is off TV, got injured again, tore his pec, can't be Cody Rhodes. CM Punk's the guy then, right? So if it's not going to be Cody, and then it's not going to be Punk, who is it going to be? No idea. That leads me back to it having to be Cody because that's a hypothetical, and he's not injured. He's the guy right now. So we're just kind of getting there. Again, the odds of Cena winning, astronomical. Odds of Punk losing, astronomical. But still going to be a great match. The feud, this is the best feud Cena's had since his heel turn. So I'm looking forward to it. I know there's some things that we've talked about that are dampening the situation, but I'm still very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I don't want to like. It's kind of a shame because Cena's heel turn obviously is so prominent that we've kind of like moved quickly past. Like, I actually enjoyed the Cena Orton
Yeah, me
feud,
too. Me
and
too.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed that match. Like, I know people were fucking shitting on it. I enjoyed that match. I enjoyed that build. So, like, was it world's greatest thing? No. Uh, do I think what they're building towards with Punk is better? Yes, but I enjoyed that. I feel like that is like something that's going to get kind of forgotten,
Hmm.
um, in all of the madness of it all. But speaking of Orton, he beats Sami Zayn, somewhat expected. If Zayn won tonight, he was winning the whole thing. He's not winning the whole thing. We know he's going to face Karrion Cross, so that is most likely next for him. He probably beats him at Night of Champions in Saudi, if we're being honest.
Hmm.
Orton moves on to face Cody, most likely, unless Jay somehow wins. You buying anything into Cody not getting a single word in on this promo, keep getting cut off? Is you buying anything into it, or is it
I
just
think,
out of coincidence?
not particularly. I do think the very long term plan is Cody turning heel. And I think it's the smallest of small seeds that you can look back on in a weird way when he eventually does turn a heel down the line. Once Cena's gone, who's the big bad heel? Seth, Bronson, Braun, sure, yeah. But what about the other brand? Gunther's always floating around, but they got to create new heels. The next biggest thing to the John Cena heel turn would really be a Cody Rhodes heel turn now. That is way more likelihood than the John Cena one did until it happened. But that's the biggest baby face ever, turning him as the bad guy is on the level of Cena turning or Austin turning and whatnot. So I don't read too much into it. I more so thought Sammy was kind of heelish tonight. A little bit. I thought there was some sprinkled in heelish. I kind of looked at my phone real briefly during the matchup. But did he eye poke Orton in that match? Looked
I
like I
don't
saw an
know.
eye poke. Maybe,
I'm
maybe
on like 5 hours of sleep in the last
a
two
lot of
days. So
sleep. You got to get
yeah,
less sleep, honestly.
yeah,
You oversleep and you can't come to concentrate.
yeah. I'm on that Snowden sleep schedule
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Get used to it.
yeah.
But I don't know. I thought the promo too, like his time in the promo wasn't heelish, but it was like a little borderline, and that's part of the Karrion Cross thing. Is he's been turning these guys heel, so maybe that's the storyline for Sammy. Sammy is the guy to fit the slot of Kevin Owens as a heel. Kevin Owens is out for potentially indefinitely. How do you fill that slot? Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and it's not impossible that we get a Sammy Jey Uso SummerSlam feud like
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that is, I mean, the story is fantastic there, and it's a great story for the two of them for a marquee,
Mm-hmm.
big four. Uh, Real quick on the Cody heel turn, like some
Mm-hmm.
people buying into the no words. I did have a thought, uh, with the crowd starting to really buy into Cena, where he's so much of a heel that he's a face
Yeah.
again, and they're just gonna cheer him. If it really picks up steam, where every crowd is giving him the reactions that he got tonight, and like everyone is behind him, that he's like, it's like Fatu, where he's a heel, but he's a face,
Mm-hmm.
before the actual face turn.
Face turn. Yeah.
What if Cody took the title off of Cena, and in his heel turn he paraded that he retired John Cena, and like the fans then hit, like,
Yeah.
we when we originally thought this would be the plan, it was like, oh, Cody will be cheered for saving the day. But in fact, people got so much behind Cena and enjoyed him so much that they ended up turning Cody heel anyway, and that was Cody's. That you dropped me like a sack of potatoes for your old toy when I've been here every single week, and now I retired the guy and I'm the champion again or whatever. Like, it
Yeah.
it
I
feels
mean,
they have that avenue easily if it continues this way.
you can kind of, there's a lot of potential to double turn Cena Cody. I can, not that a bunch of people are going to be involved in their eventual feud, but no, they could be. You just throw the hypothetical out. I can see a world where Cena has already kind of shown some signs of like regretting the heel turn, perhaps, on TV. So maybe he gets more of that out there, and we're starting to see the potential face turn coming. Maybe some other guys get involved in the match. Logan Paul is out there, and Logan Paul, he's got the brass knucks on. He's about to knock out Cody, do him dirty. And Cena takes the title to Logan Paul, knocks him out, doesn't let him take out Cody that way. He's not going to win that way tonight. But then Cody grabs the brass knucks and he takes out Cena, and he wins all heelish and some sort of double turn scenario. I wouldn't hate it at all. I wouldn't hate it at all. I think you got to freshen it up a little bit. I also can see a world where if they keep Cody Rhodes face for a while, the fans are fickle nowadays, and he can reach like a current Rhea Ripley status where he's the GOAT until people are bored, kind of, I mean, even me, I'm not going to say I'm bored of Cody at all. I absolutely love Cody, but I don't think this championship run, assuming he wins the title off Cena, has to be a 6 month to a year title run. It could be transitional for all I care.
Yeah, and I should say I don't think Cody's turning heel, and
Anytime
I
soon, really.
wouldn't turn him heel on top of it. Like I'm just completely spitballing it as
Yeah.
we do.
I think we got
And
years before Cody turns.
yeah, and I still think you can do all of his matchups. But going back to the original point, fucking wasting him and Randy Orton at Saudi is an absolute travesty because that is something that we have talked about since Cody's return.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Randy having a multiple month story, and when he was champion, we were saying the entire time, oh, well, he's still got to face Randy, and that's going to be like a 6 month feud. He's still got to face Randy. That's going to be a 6 month feud.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking travesty that would be, but whatever.
Maybe it's a
That's
tool they're using. Maybe Cody gets the win, and it's part of the Orton heel turn, and then they step into that down the line. I'm not a fan of them doing it that way, but I don't know. It's the only excuse I can give it.
yeah. So, in other news from SmackDown, Asuka advances to the finals, which
Mm-hmm.
again furthers we know pretty much the potential routes for not just Evolution but also SummerSlam, so that seems to be still on the same path. They announced multiple matches for next week's SmackDown. The tag titles on the line, Wyatt Six going from Tiffany Stratton, Nia Jax, last
Mm-hmm.
woman standing for the women's WWE title. Julia going for the United States title. So next week's SmackDown is pretty loaded. But I mentioned the Fatu solo match happening at Night of Champions. I wanted to bring this up and circle back to it because I had to say it, and I feel like I'm not even kidding. I feel like I've said this at 10 different points. I'm gonna be in the minority, but this is a must win for Solo.
Yeah, yeah. Are you
If
kidding me?
he
Yeah.
loses, when will he ever win?
We are in the minority. We have been on the Solo Sokoa train for ages now. Since NXT 2.0, I've been a Solo Sokoa guy. We never slept on him when all the fans were saying he's so he's boring and this or that. Look at him now. Look at all these guys, the Austin Theories of the world. We have never been wrong on our opinion on some of these talents. And Solo Sokoa, his time was last year. So his time is still now. How do you prolong this feud too? Solo Sokoa winning the belt at Night of Champions due to some JC Mateo, Hikaleo interference. I can see a new name popping up. He did have a dark match on SmackDown last week, so he's around. How else do you prolong the feud? Fatu is a guy too that I want to see him have accolades. Gunther's a two-time champion now. I want when some of these superstars are said and done. I know it makes me all happy and giddy. I want a lot of these superstars to have 4 or 5, 6-time title runs. Not all of them have to have 15, 20-time title runs, but 4 or 5 is more meaningful sometimes than like one long one. I don't know. Sometimes you want to see that title float back around to other people. Fatu can lose it, win it back down the line, or move on to something better and bigger. Who knows? Might be a draft coming up down the line. Maybe they split Fatu and Solo at some point, which eventually you should. Their feud's going to tire out. But Solo Sokoa, U.S. champion, lock it in.
Yeah, and Jacob Fatu is yet to be pinned. If there's ever a person to do it that could get that big moment, like
Big
he's
heat.
exactly like it's gotta be Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as we've said, I don't need Solo to take it and hold the title for 300 days.
Mm-hmm.
it prolongs their story. It makes sense. It gets rid of the zero for Fatu, so you're not always in this, you
He's
know,
undefeated.
yeah. And on top of it, it is one of the easiest stories to have Fatu actually lose and not look weak like he just
Hmm.
lost like any other match. But this is by far it's a PMT does the joke. Is this a must win or a can't lose
Yeah,
for Solo? This is both must win, can't lose.
yeah,
Like this might be the last straw. If
yeah.
he cannot win here, it is over for him.
If Solo loses here, like how is he ever going to beat the next guy for a championship and so on?
Yeah.
Like I just don't see it. I like Solo at that point would just be pure enhancement talent. You know, he would still be around, but he would fall into that boat of a guy that's probably never going to win a championship. But he's got a North American title under his belt. I want him to have a U.S. title run. You know, hell, give him a fucking tag team title run with Jason Mateo for all I care. You know, get him some involvement with some championships. Again, Solo Sikoa man with that U.S. title. I want it. I want it now.
Now it's got me more excited for our live reactions though, because I'm like, man, if Solo actually win, JC
Yeah.
Mateo helps him, or maybe Jimmy messes up, helping kind of distracts
I would bet I'm
Fatu.
honestly gonna bet that Hikuleo shows up. I
I would
absolutely can see it.
I
Yeah.
would assume so as well. But dude,
Yeah.
imagine Solo gets that win. I'm popping. I love Fatu too. Like this isn't like
Yeah.
a anti
Yeah.
Fatu. I just
Fatu's
also love
incredible.
Solo. Yeah, like I've
We love storytelling is what we love.
exactly,
That's what it
exactly.
comes down to.
And I have no worry that Fatu will be okay if he loses the title
Mm.
here. Like that is the least of my concerns. Talk about someone who 1000% will be fine. Solo will not be fine if he just loses another fucking match.
You know, I'll wrap it up with this. If Solo loses, we riot.
We taking it all.
Settle the score.
Follow us on
Bye.
socials. Come hang out with us next week. Mwah. See you. Goodbye. Who used to do this?
Oh, he used to do that. Candace Michelle?
Was it? I don't know. We're gonna look it up. Talk to you later.